What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. Today we got some really amazing news for Spider-Man, both for Spider-Man Brand New Day and for Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday. Now, for Spider-Man Brand New Day, Sadie Sink has officially been cast in a mystery role, but it looks like we might finally know who she's playing. And if this report is true, it's exactly what I wanted. I think this will lead to an amazing story for Spider-Man Brand New Day. It will involve the story with the multiverse and the events that are taking place in Avengers Doomsday, and could lead to a very satisfying reunion in Avengers Doomsday or in Avengers Secret Wars if Marvel Studios pulls it off. But when it comes to Avengers Doomsday, I know that Tom Holland hasn't officially gotten a chair from Marvel Studios, and there have been reports that he's perhaps not going to be in Avengers Doomsday because he's going to have to film The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. But since Spider-Man is one of the main faces of the MCU right now, it would make sense for him to be in Avengers Doomsday, and apparently Marvel Studios thinks that as well. We have a new report that they're working on getting him in Avengers Doomsday. And of course, we'll break it all down for you in this video. Now, Sadie Sink has been a pretty hot topic since she was announced to be cast for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Marvel Studios was and currently is casting for the new X-Men team, so Jean Grey got thrown out there a lot about who she could be possibly playing. However, once the report actually came out from an official source, they did quote the rumors that she was going to play Jean Grey, but insiders came out and said they haven't heard that is who she is going to play. On top of that, we have heard things like Black Cat is going to appear in Spider-Man Brand New Day, or perhaps Spider-Gwen. So perhaps Sadie Sink was going to possibly play one of these characters. However, in a new report from John Roca on the Hot Mic podcast, he says that it's actually not any of these characters, but he has heard something different from a source of his. And according to him and his source, Sadie Sink is going to be playing Mayday Parker. And he does seem to specify that this is going to be Mayday Parker, the daughter of Peter Parker, but specifically the daughter of Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. Take a listen to what he said right here.
Because I just got a text from someone, a source, who said something, and they said they've heard that Sadie Sink is playing Mayday, Mayday Parker. So connecting to the Tobey universe, he's her daughter. But that's what they've revealed.
John Roca would continue to go on and say that she is the teenage daughter of Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker, and she comes from a different universe. And I think if Marvel Studios decides to do this, it's a brilliant idea for a few different reasons, but one being, I think it is really important that they explore variants from other universes as we really get into Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. That's why I think that the Fantastic Four film being set in another universe is a brilliant idea. We need to see the multiverse saga in full effect. So I think that this would be an incredible move from Marvel Studios, and I do think that it would set up an incredible reunion for Tobey Maguire to return and reunite with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. And I think this could actually have a way bigger effect than most people realize on the character of Tom Holland's Peter Parker. Because Tom Holland's Peter Parker has struggled a lot. And in Spider-Man No Way Home, we have learned that Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker has also struggled a lot. But in that moment when they're all talking to each other about girlfriends and getting angry and no longer pulling punches and such, Tobey's Peter Parker gave Andrew some hope when he said, "We make it work," telling the other Spider-Man that it is possible. It takes work, but it is possible to have somewhat of a normal life, at least the most normal you could, being Spider-Man. So I think Tom Holland's Peter Parker becoming good friends with Mayday Parker, who is from a different universe, Tobey Maguire's universe, one would not only just be super cool to see Spider-Man and Spider-Girl teaming up together, which would kind of satisfy what we've heard Sony wants from Spider-Man Brand New Day, kind of a bigger, more multiversal film that has the other Spider-Man returning to it. Perhaps we don't get the other two Spider-Men returning, but we do get Mayday Parker instead, and maybe Tobey shows up at the end. And two, like I just said, it makes it a multiversal film that connects to Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars in a really big way. And I personally would love to see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man back in action, swinging with his daughter, Mayday Parker, who apparently, and reportedly, that's who Sadie Sink is going to be playing. Again, I personally love this. I think it could lead to some amazing stories in Brand New Day and Avengers Secret Wars, but go ahead, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, going on to Avengers Doomsday. According to reliable insider Daniel Richman, Marvel Studios does want Tom Holland Spider-Man to appear in Avengers Doomsday. However, they still have to work out a deal with Tom Holland. Now, when he first said this and the news first came out, a lot of people started to state that Marvel Studios wants Tom Holland Spider-Man in Avengers Doomsday, but they haven't worked out a deal with Sony yet. And yeah, you could understand how somebody would jump to that conclusion. However, Daniel RPK then commented about this, stating, "Sorry, just now seeing this, a deal with Holland himself, not Sony. I didn't say anything about Sony." He then went on to say, "There's already a deal in place with Sony, but they still need to finalize the financial agreement with Tom Holland and work out the scheduling." The scheduling is most likely the hardest part because he has to film, well, one, he has to film Spider-Man Brand New Day, which has to get started pretty quickly here within the next few months because it comes out a few months after Avengers Doomsday. Doomsday comes out May 1st of 2026. Spider-Man Brand New Day comes out July 31st of 2026. So they got to start that soon, but he's also filming The Odyssey. He's doing that right now. So yeah, scheduling could be a little tough, but they could definitely make it work, especially if he's on the set for Spider-Man Brand New Day and Doomsday at the same time. It's possible. However, that does make it pretty difficult for Tom Holland. It'll be hard on him physically and mentally, which is probably why the financial negotiations haven't exactly come to a conclusion yet. Tom Holland did an interview recently where he talked about how much he has grown as an actor and as a person. And he actually talked about contracts, stating that when he first came on as Spider-Man and just an actor in general, he thought that he didn't really have any control of really anything that he was doing because he was an actor who was just starting off. So he pretty much just kind of agreed to things and didn't try to negotiate because when you're just starting off, you don't really have that power. But now he does. And he stated that he can now say no to things that he doesn't want to do. And now he has more power to negotiate. And he said all this very humbly, not from like a power position, but for a position that is just better for him overall, physically, mental health wise. And I'm sure all of that is coming up with Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday. It's going to be a lot of work. However, I can't really see an Avengers Doomsday without Tom Holland Spider-Man because again, he is one of the main faces of the MCU right now. And we kind of don't have main faces. It's a little more established after Captain America Brave New World and the Thunderbolts, but in the Infinity Saga we had Iron Man and we had Captain America, and those were kind of the faces of the MCU along with some of the other Avengers as well. Well, Marvel Studios hasn't exactly established those main characters of the main story driving the multiverse saga because, well, it's just kind of been a little bit of a mess. But they're bringing it all back. Thunderbolts was awesome. Fantastic Four hopefully is going to be amazing. And Doomsday and Secret Wars, we know they're going to knock it out of the park. So Marvel is basically bringing all of these stories together to revolve around one story, which is Doom. So it would make sense that they would have one of their most popular actors and characters in Avengers Doomsday, even if it's just for a short amount of time. He doesn't have to have the most screen time in the movie. In fact, Dr. Doom is going to get the most screen time. But even if he just pops up at the end, I think it's still a really good idea to have Spider-Man in the movie. And if they do have him in Avengers Doomsday, that means you can do a lot of multiversal things in Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is what I believe they need to do. We can still get the grounded and street level story, but overall, we are about to go into Avengers Secret Wars, so the multiverse has to be an aspect of the film. But it looks like we're about to see a lot more Spider-Man, and it looks like Sadie Sink might be playing Mayday Parker. And I will add, because I've seen some people talk about this does not seem to be a romantic interest of Peter Parker, and I really hope it's not because that's a little weird. She is the daughter of a Peter Parker, not technically him, and they're technically not related because she comes from another universe, and she's the daughter of a different variant, but still, I don't know the rules, but it seems like they should stay away from any type of romantic situation there with Mayday and Tom Holland's Peter Parker. But go ahead, let me know your thoughts about all of this in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man and Marvel news, rumors, or leaks. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.